we beg for his mercy. And it is advice that is given to us by the previous acharyas, that is our position. Our position is to beg for mercy. Because mercy comes whether you deserve it or not. It's not like I am deserving of mercy. Mercy means that it comes whether you're deserving or not. Certainly we see in the life and the history of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, his life in the mood of Lord Nityananda was to distribute mercy, whether we were qualified or not. And in many instances, at least I could speak for myself, what was the qualification to be a recipient of this mercy? There was no qualification. Jagai and Madai, there was no repentance in Jagai and Madai's case. How many of you know the story of Jagai and Madai? How many of you don't? The story of Jagai and Madai, I don't have a lot of time, so I won't tell many stories. But the story of Jagai and Madai is that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur to go door to door and beg, hands and knees, rolling, straw between your teeth. Can any of you imagine doing that? I was greatly fortunate because that's what Prabhupada told us to do. Go door to door and ask people to kindly take these books. That's the mood of Lord Nityananda. That's the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya, he is the embodiment of Krishna Prema, and Lord Nityananda is the distributor of Krishna Prema. And to distribute something to those who are not even qualified, that is the embodiment of compassion. So Lord Nityananda is the embodiment of compassion. And even when he was young, in Ekachakra, the son of Hadai Pandit and Padmavati, right? He was the embodiment of Krishna consciousness. He would engage much in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, right? That's why the single most quoted pastime by Srila Prabhupada was Prahlad Maharaj, because he was the embodiment of the mood of compassion. His classmates, his father, there was no qualification there, right? Certainly Hiranyakashipu was anything but qualified. So when Nityananda Ram and Haridas Thakur were requested by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute Krishna Prema, regardless of qualification, that's what they did. They went door to door. And some people spat upon them. Some people cursed them. Why? Because some people, envy is within the heart. That when you have no envy in your heart, then Krishna reveals everything. When you have envy in your heart, you can't understand anything about Krishna. Because that envy is such a thick cloud. So because Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya would go to Srivas Thakur Anga and they would have kirtan, and the kirtans were very private, not anybody was let in at that point. So some people were very, very envious of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in their inner circle. So when they came door to door, get out of here. Spat upon, cursed them. Did not treat them very nicely. I feel so fortunate, so grateful, because every time, this is not planned, every time I hear this, I think about how much Prabhupada bestowed mercy upon me to do in the mood of Lord Chaitanya and Sri Haridas Thakur, to go and to get spat upon and to get attacked, where people want to beat you up and thrown in jail. My mother said, "You were such a good boy, now you're a devotee and you're always getting thrown in jail." I said, "Mom, it's worth it, chanting God's names. I'll go to jail anytime to chant God, just to chant God's names." So that's what Haridas Thakur and Nityananda, that was their move, that was the essence of their move, to go and to give anyone and everyone. So once they saw in the marketplace, a big crowd was gathering. And they wanted to see, oh, this is an opportunity. And anytime who's distributing Krishna Prema, they have an eye and a nose and an ear for opportunity. What is the opportunity? That I can give something. So when they went, they saw these people gathering, and alas, in the middle of that crowd of people was Jagai and Madai. And Jagai and Madai were former Brahmins who took to the path of sinful activity, total sinful activity. You cannot imagine. Think of a sin. Someone yell out a sin. Anybody? You're so pure. You don't know any sins. It's amazing. Huh? Stealing. They stole. And drinking. They drank. Anything else? Murdering. They murdered. Anything else?
Illicit sex.
Huh? Illicit sex. That's nothing. They raped and looted. And anything that you can think, any heinous activity that you can think of, Jagai and Madai, former Brahmins, embraced it. They became the embodiment, the personification of sinful activity. So when Haridas Thakur and Nityananda went there and saw these two people, and they were overweight, and they were cursing and beating people and throwing things. They were doing so many things. Lord Nityananda said, "Who is that? Who are those men?" And he said, "Oh, you don't know? That's Jagai and Madai. They are beyond rascaldom. They are total sinful wretches." Now, most people will go, "Oh, let me out of here." But Lord Nityananda's eyes got big. He said, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to bring these souls back home, back to Godhead. When I was on Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party, and we would go all around the United States, Canada, and some parts of Mexico, our meditation, Vishnu Janswami, who was the head of the Radha Damodar traveling party, he said, your meditation should be, you are collecting gems. The jivas are gems. And then what we want to do is we want to string a garland of gems and place that on the neck of Radha and Damodar. So that's why Lord Nityananda was so excited. He said, oh, this is an opportunity to show the potency of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you should have no doubt that that mercy is so potent that if you make the effort to distribute that mercy, you will be blessed in ways beyond your comprehension. Because I know sometimes people are a little shy. You don't want to say anything at work. You don't want to say, doesn't matter. Wherever you go, if you, like Lord Nityananda, if you seek the opportunity, and when that becomes your radar, to seek the opportunity, you are bestowed with the ability to find those opportunities. Those opportunities are given to you. They're blessed. You are blessed with that mercy. And you're given that opportunity to speak something about Krishna. This is Lord Nityananda. This is who he is. From early on, when he was a young boy, this is what he did. Got somebody calling? Let him attend the class. So Nityananda is revered as the epitome of compassion and unconditional mercy, karuna. Unlike Lord Chaitanya, who sometimes upheld strict qualifications for devotees, Nityananda, and this is the difference, Nityananda distributed prema, divine love, freely, even to the most fallen souls, including atheists and sinners like Jagai and Madai. So when Lord Nityananda saw and heard Jagai and Madai, and he heard their nefarious activities, he said, this is an opportunity. So the first time he approached them, he begged them to give up their sinful activities and grasp the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there was quiet for a second. And then, well then, listen to these fools. Do you know who you're dealing with? We are Jagai and Madhai. We have no interest in God, in holy activities, anything like that. And in their drunken stupor, they got up with sticks in their hands and they started chasing Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. They're chasing them down the street. Fortunately, they were intoxicated and Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur outran them. But there was another encounter because Lord Nityananda, the embodiment of compassion and mercy, went out quite often with Haridas Thakur to try to inspire and distribute Krishna Prema. And they came across Jagai and Madai again. So what do you think happened? They repented. They fell on the ground, right? No. What happened? Bhakti Vinod? They threw a clay wine pot. Not only was it a pot, it was a pot that they were drinking wine out of, totally contaminated. They took that pot. They said, "Did you learn your lesson? We have no interest in God and chanting Hare Krishna and any of those things." And he threw the pot and hit Lord Nityananda right in the head, and his head started bleeding. Oh, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out, there is an aspect of Lord Chaitanya called Nishringa Chaitanya. And if you know Lord Nishringadev, so you can imagine Nishringa Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya became so angry, furious, enraged, that he invoked the Sudarsana Chakra, and he came rushing out at Jagai and Madai. Kind of like when Krishna attacked Bhishma, right? He didn't use his chakra, but he got the wheel. but it looked like a giant chakra, and he attacked Bhishma. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was attacking, and they were overwhelmed by the absolute potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this feature, this furious feature of Nrsimha Chaitanya. Lord Nityananda grabbed Lord Chaitanya's dhoti. He said, "Oh, my Lord, please, please, do not kill them. Spare them. Show them your mercy." And Lord Chaitanya was still red-eyed, hair out like a mane, and the chakra, and he's biting his lip, and he's restraining. And Lord Nityananda said to him, "My dear Lord, this is Kali Yuga. And if you're to kill Jagai and Madai, you have to kill everybody. Because now and in the future of Kali Yuga, everybody will be like this. So you didn't come to kill everybody, but you came to kill their demonic tendencies." So there was no repentance there. It wasn't Jagai and Madhai saying, "Oh, please forgive." There was no repentance. It was mercy, pure and simple. Lord Nityananda, the heart full, overbrimming with compassion. He said, "This is why you came. To save the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. This is why you came. And if you save them, if you show them your mercy, then this will be an example for all the universe. To show the potency of divine compassion, divine mercy. Mercy is causeless. If someone chooses to be merciful, you can't stop them, right? Prabhupada was given so many reasons why not to come to the West. Oh, Swamiji, what was her name? Srimati Murari. She said, "Swamiji, you are an aged man. You're an old man. You can't go to the West. It's very difficult there." And so many people tried to discourage his godbrothers. Oh, they were never understand Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Why are you bothering to go? But mercy, grace, has no cost. Especially if the heart is full of it. Full of compassion, overbrimming with compassion. Like in Lord Nityananda's case, oh, don't bother Jagai and Madai. They forget it. They're animals. They're worse than animals. Human beings, when they sin to that degree, they're worse than animals. Animals can be tamed, but a human being who does not control their mind and senses cannot be tamed. But Lord Nityananda, Srila Prabhupada in that mood, and anyone who follows in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada will feel their heart filling with compassion. We don't study these books to be scholars. We study these books to know the reason why we are here. What is our purpose? Our purpose is to become lovers of Krishna and to have everyone else become lovers of Krishna, because therein lies the happiness. Srila Prabhupada would say, if you reach Brahman, that is only partial knowledge. If you meditate on the illumined self, that is only partial knowledge. Real knowledge is to serve Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan is the source of Brahman, is the source of Paramatma, is the source of everything. So, Lord Nityananda, whole purpose was to inspire us with that mood of devotion, compassion, to freely distribute Krishna Prema, no qualification required, and to inspire the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to also do the same. When Srila Prabhupada gave a lecture on Lord Nityananda's appearance day, he spoke the verses of Nityapada Kamala that you so nicely sang. So I'm gonna, in the mood of Srila Prabhupada, in following, trying to follow in his footsteps, we'll read these verses and then say something. So Nityapada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shushitala, Ye Choya Jogada Jurai. Henai Nitai Bine Bai, Radha Krishna Poite Nai, Dridha Kori Dharo Nitai Poi. Translation. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get this soothing moonlight, not only of one, but of millions of moons. Have you ever been out in the evening and bathed or basked in the moonlight and how it cools the mind? So the metaphor that's being used here, that just as the moon is cooling, imagine millions of moons. And those millions of moons are the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So throw away the Xanax, folks, and bask in the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. And the mind will become cool, as if basking in millions of moons. If the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, it will be very difficult for him to approach Radha Krishna. If one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha Krishna, he must firmly catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So what is shelter? For a Vaishnava, shelter means, lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, shelter means the instructions that come to us from Guru and Krishna. That's why you should have a regular diet of hearing the instructions from Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Because if we have doubt in any of this, doubt is the result of lack of knowledge. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Das Mula, he says, how do you become free from doubt? You become free from doubt by the knowledge that the Lord has given us in these sacred texts of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. So shelter, to actually recognize the shelter and take shelter of it, to be protected by it, we have to have this knowledge. This knowledge obliterates doubt. We won't have any doubt. And we'll pursue the instructions of the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and his pure devotees will hear those instructions. We'll take them to our hearts, and then we'll share them with others. Shelter of Krishna's instruction. We can even take shelter of hardship. Does anyone experience hardship? You can take shelter of hardship. Didn't Arjuna take shelter of hardship? He was bewildered. He was confused about his duty. You can either become paralyzed by hardship or you can become motivated by hardship. Arjuna became motivated by hardship because Krishna gave them instructions on how to not be paralyzed by the hardship. So we can even take shelter of hardship. That's the glory of bhakti. We can take shelter of hardship, take shelter of the instructions of the Supreme Lord, take shelter of the example of Lord Nityananda, and distribute whatever you know, whatever you have. It doesn't matter. One time Srila Prabhupada was sitting on the lawn in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and Saraswati, she was a 5-year-old girl, the daughter of Malati. And Prabhupada asked Saraswati, he said, what is the perfection of life, Saraswati? And she said, chant Hare Krishna. He said, yes, you have understood. So when we hear about Prahlad Maharaj at 5 or Dhruva Maharaj at 5, understanding the perfection of life, have no doubt that's there and can be there in a 5-year-old little girl, and it can be there in us. We eradicate doubt and we march on boldly. We have to seize shelter past our ignorance, accepting the fact that we need to be humble. It's not a bad meal, humble pie. It's rather quite tasty when we have humility. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Tunanada peace and Chena, Taroda peace, Aishana, Amanida, Manadina, Kirtanaya, Sadhari. You want to chant? What's the first ingredient on the ingredient box? What's the first ingredient? Humility. That's the first ingredient. You know, when you look on the ingredients in a box, say a box of cereal or a box of this or that, the first ingredient is the most. That's why it's first. So it was no coincidence, no accident that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, humility. If you want to be able to chant incessantly. Did you ever try to figure out why it's hard to chant? Sometimes people say, oh, it's so hard to chant my rounds. We have to eat humble pie. It is a tasty dish. And it causes within us an inspiration, a true inspiration. What does inspiration mean? Inspire, the word from Latin, means from God. It comes from God. So inspiration means when we're inspired by chanting or devotee association or reading Bhagavad Gita, etc., that is mercy coming from Lord Nityananda. It's coming from the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead, Lord Nityananda. Grace does not dominate or control. Grace serves. When we are the recipient of grace, it inspires service attitude. So It doesn't dominate you or control you, but it inspires you to serve. True grace creates freedom, not dependence. When we are on the path of bhakti and we are chanting our rounds and following regulative principles, and people sometimes say, what do you do for fun? I want to be free. And how are you free when you are a servant of your senses and you are a servant of your mind? What is freedom? What is free about that? Why does Krishna say the regulative principles of freedom in the 2nd chapter of the Gita? So, true grace creates freedom, not dependence. We are free to serve. We are inspired to serve. We're not forced to serve. We're inspired to serve. We want to serve in whatever capacity that we can. And we look for opportunities. We search, we seek out opportunities for service. Work is not an excuse, it is an opportunity. Family is not an excuse, it's an opportunity. Every time I went to visit my family, it was like, and my brother-in-law was a total atheist. He said, you have answers for everything. We would always have these debates, right? You have answers for everything. I said, no, I don't. Yeah, every time I throw something at you, you answer me. I said, that's not me, that's Krishna. So there is no excuse. Work is not an excuse. You can find that person. One time my wife got on my case. She said, you're on the beach. You're standing by the water and you're preaching to some lady. You don't even know this lady. They're there for a vacation. Opportunity. That's what opportunity means for a devotee. When Lord Nityananda inspires the heart, we see opportunity to give this freedom, to share the freedom, not to be misers. We're not misers. We give freely and abundantly, profusely, at every opportunity. That is our inspiration that comes directly from Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda saw himself as the servant, not the served. He never claimed centrality. He always redirected to the Lord Chaitanya. It was like Srila Prabhupada. He never claimed centrality. It wasn't about him. It was about Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and chanting Hare Krishna, always. There's thousands of lectures by Srila Prabhupada. You don't hear him glorifying himself. He sought every opportunity with academicians, with politicians, with police officers, with reporters, on TV. Every opportunity would be to say something about Krishna. So, Lord Nityananda, it wasn't about centrality. Servitorship is, I am giving to my Lord. I'm giving others the opportunity to serve my Lord. Lord Nityananda acts as a conduit, not as an endpoint. That is the profound nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead, that he is a conduit of mercy. that leads to the end point, which is the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because without Lord Nityananda, you cannot get to Lord Chaitanya. Raghunath Das tried so hard, so many times. It was only when he became a recipient of the mercy of Lord Nityananda, was he able to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we cannot get the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. This is the profound nature of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Lord Nityananda's mercy gives us Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Lord Chaitanya's mercy opens the door, opens the gateway, opens the portal to the Ras stands. We cannot achieve it directly. Then, She Shambanda Nahi Jar, Vritta Janma Gilotar, Se Pashu Boro Durachar, Nittai Na Bolilo Muke, Majilo Shamshara Shuke, Vidyakule Kikori Vetar. And this means anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda Prabhu is understood to have spoiled his valuable human birth. To be born as in the human species of life is the greatest boon, because this gives us the opportunity. Again, see the opportunity, seize the opportunity. It gives us, I do not see any cats and dogs sitting here listening to this lecture. I see only beautiful souls embodied in the human form of life who have been blessed with the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. Such a human being is actually an uncontrollable animal. When we cannot control our senses and we cannot control our mind, then it is said we are worse than animals. Because an animal, like a dog, sit. You can train the dog to sit. Give me your paw. The dog will give you his paw. You can train an animal. If you leave a dog alone and they become wild, they're very vicious. It was just a person in Australia was killed by dingoes. You know what a dingo is? It's an Australian wild dog. And they're not very big. But when they're wild, then uncontrollable. So if we allow our minds to be uncontrolled and our senses to be uncontrolled, then it's described by Narottam Das Thakur that we're worse than animals. We have the ability to bring everything under control. We have that. It's choice. That's all it is. It's choice. That's the beauty of human life. You have a choice. You have the ability to say yes or no. Intelligence means yes or no. That's what it means. It means yes to the mind or no to the mind. Yes to an uncontrolled sensory urge or no. That's what it means. And the purification of the heart, the purification of the intelligence, which comes from sadhana, chanting Hare Krishna, glorifying, doing deity worship, the 5 angas, chanting, sadhusanga, shraddhaya, study, tirtha, going to holy places, and deity worship. Those are the 5 most powerful angas of bhakti. And just to perform them on a regular basis will give us the ability to control the mind and our senses. Because he never uttered the holy name of Nityananda, he has become merged into so-called material happiness. What can this useless education and family tradition do to help? So, material happiness is the illusion. There may be some glimmer, there may be some hint, but then it goes away. There's no santosh. There's no contentment. Happiness is not just a jolt, like an electric shock. True happiness, when one is in connection with the Supreme Lord, true happiness means that you are connected and stable and steady. Number 3, ahankare matta hoya nittai pada poshariya ashat yere shatya korimani nittai yer karuna habe brache radha krishna habe daro nittai charana dukani. Translation: being maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? What can he do for me? I don't care. The result is that he is accepting something false to be truth. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. When he is merciful toward you, then you will be able to approach Radha Krishna. Therefore, you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. And I'll read the last one. Nittaya charana satya tahara shevaka nitya nittai pada shraddha koro asha naratama boro dukki nittai more koro sukhi Rako Ranga Charanera Pasha. And this is the last. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion, they are a fact. One who engages in the transcendental loving service lost here. One who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. This Narottam Das is very unhappy. Therefore, I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. My dear Lord, please keep me close to your lotus feet. So we should all make a little prayer this evening to be happy. Pray for the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Pray for that happiness. So happiness is infectious. So you can spread the happiness to all that you need. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. His Grace Lakshmi Narasimha Prabhu ki Jai.